Mr. Mercer, would you please read the statement to bring us back into open session?
Yes, Chair Swigert, I move that the record shows that the only item discussed in the closed meeting were those specifically cited in the motion to convene into the closed meeting and those lawfully exempted from statutory meeting requirements.
Is there a second? Motion made by Mr. Mercer, seconded by Mr. Boone. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members voting yes.
Dr. Cotton, do you have items resulting from closed session?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. The following personnel appointments are presented to the school board for approval. Mr. Brian G. Hunberry from Principal Deep Creek High School to Principal Grassfield High. Mrs. Kenyatta B. Garrett from Principal Jolliffe Middle to Principal Deep Creek High. Ms. Terry J. Wirtz from Principal Indian River Middle to Principal Chesapeake Center for Student Success. Mr. John S. Close from Assistant Principal Grassfield High to Principal Jolliffe Middle. Mrs. Brenna L. Anderson Stanley from Assistant Principal Oscar Smith High to Principal Indian River Middle. Dr. Nathan L. Brown Jr. from Principal Chesapeake Center for Student Success to Assistant Principal Grassfield High. And Mrs. Dana Lynn Williams Bonds from Assistant Principal 1 at Truett Intermediate to Assistant Principal Indian River Middle.
I'll entertain a motion for approval. Moved by Dr. Walker. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Boone. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members voting yes.
Okay. We will now move to the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. At this time, I'd like to call upon Deacon Adrian Markey from St. Stephen Martyr Catholic Church, who will give the opening invocation. Afterwards, I'll ask Mr. Sam Boone, school board member, to lead us in the pledge. Please stand as you are able.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Most gracious and merciful and loving Father, we thank you so much for all your gifts. We thank you so much for all your blessings. We thank you for all the successful outcomes of the school events. We thank you for all those who are involved in the school system, for the teachers and staff members and the volunteers. We thank you as well for this board here present, O Lord. They are your policymakers, they are the voice of the community as well. We ask you, Father, for a special blessing upon them, that they may receive through the power of the Holy Spirit your wisdom, your courage, your strength, your guidance as they go through their deliberations, so that they can make decisions that are good for the community and good for all of us. We ask you, Father, as well, to just bless them with the gift of humility and integrity as they decide all that they need to decide, so that we're all benefit of those decisions, and we are all called to serve you, O Lord, in whatever capacity you call us to serve you. You call them to serve you in this capacity, and we ask you for a special blessing upon them. May all that they do and they say, they do it for your glory, the glory of God the Father, through the Son, in the power of the Holy Spirit. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. To the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Deacon Markey, for joining us this evening to give the invocation. Thank you. We are now moving on to awards and recognitions, the first item being the memorial resolution. Dr. Smith.
Thank you, Chair Swigert. At the request of the superintendent, I have prepared a resolution honoring the life and service of one of our esteemed employees, Mrs. Karen Phelps Jones, who served as a teacher at Hickory Elementary School before her passing this past February. We have several special guests in the audience tonight who have joined us for the presentation. Before I read the resolution, I'd like to invite Mr. Jay Luter, principal of Hickory Elementary School, to the podium to provide remarks.
Good evening, Chair Swigert and Vice Chair Mercer, school board members, Dr. Cotton, and administrative staff. This year, Hickory Elementary School mourned the loss of a beloved third grade teacher in Ms. Karen Jones. One of my favorite quotes is from theologian John Wesley. Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as ever you can. In both her personal life and her more than 40 years of teaching, Karen Jones did a tremendous amount of good. Karen exemplified perseverance, generosity, and a positive spirit that touched countless lives inside the classroom and beyond. Ms. Jones placed great value on work ethic and determination, and her impact will be felt for years at Hickory Elementary School. Today, I'm joined by Karen's daughters, as well as many of her family and friends, as well as members of our Hickory Elementary School staff. On behalf of all of us, I want to thank you so much for honoring her legacy tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Luter. At this time, I would like to invite members of Mrs. Jones' family who are with us today in the audience to join Mr. Luter at the podium for the reading of the resolution. Be it known to all persons that we, the members of the Chesapeake School Board, here assembled on this 26th day of June 2023, do hereby pay tribute to the life and memory of Mrs. Karen Phelps Jones. Whereas Mrs. Karen Jones graduated from Old Dominion University in 1980 with a bachelor's degree in early childhood education, then continued her education at Old Dominion University, where in 1985 she received a master's degree in elementary education. And whereas she served as an elementary teacher at Camelot Elementary School, B.M. Williams Primary School, and Hickory Elementary School, where she served the children, their parents, and others with distinction and honor for 42 years. Whereas during Mrs. Jones' last 35 years of teaching, all at Hickory Elementary School, she served as grade level chairperson and representative to the Faculty Senate and was selected as the 1992 Teacher of the Year for Hickory Elementary School. And whereas she was highly esteemed by her colleagues, students, and friends as an invaluable asset to the school system and to the community, and will always be remembered for her gentleness, smile, special gift of making everyone feel important, love for all children, and love for learning. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the members of the school board of the City of Chesapeake, do gratefully acknowledge her service to the school system and extend to her family our heartfelt sympathy at her passing. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be made a part of the minutes of this date and the original presented to her family as evidence of our esteem and reverence for the memory of Mrs. Karen Phelps Jones. Madam Chair, at this time I respectfully request adoption of this resolution.
Mr. Mercer, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the adoption of the resolution.
And before I do that, can I just say that Mrs. Jones was my oldest son's third grade teacher, and I asked today of him what he remembered most about her. And he said he remembered the reading groups, that she loved to teach reading, and he developed the love of reading. And I don't know that there can be any greater legacy for a teacher than to have a child that now is, some of y'all know him very well, my oldest, that has had the gift of instilling wanting to read. And so she was a great person. I lived across the street for many years, so she had to put up with me even when she didn't have kids. It is an honor for me to move the adoption of this resolution.
Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Lamonia. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members voting yes. Mr. Luter, if you wouldn't mind introducing the board, our guest to the board.
Mrs. Danielle Smith Deal and family members, we just want to thank you again for your presence tonight and extend our deepest sympathies to your family. We will now move on to the hearing of citizens. During their allotted time, speakers should observe our rules of decorum and know that expressions of concerns and criticism of matters of school policy and operations is welcome. While the speaker's own comments are welcome, they may not play pre-recorded messages. Dr. Smith, are there any citizens who have requested time to speak this evening?
Yes, Chair Swigert, we have 18 citizens requesting to speak.
I want to thank those speakers who've signed up to address the board this evening. There are 2 ways that citizens can request time to speak at the meeting: call the clerk's office before 12 noon the day of the meeting, or sign up to speak prior to the start of the meeting. All in-person requests to speak must be submitted to the deputy clerk 5 minutes prior to the published meeting start time. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the board. Once your allotted time is over, we ask that you promptly exit the podium. You may choose to sit in the boardroom if seats are available, but standing or sitting on the floor will not be permitted, and you may not block the exit doors. We would also like to ask that you refrain from any behavior that disrupts the meeting, including the use of profanity, applause, cheering, or jeering. Dr. Smith, please call the first speaker.
Yes, Madam Chair. Speakers will be called to the podium in numerical order. I'd like to invite speaker number 1. It's your turn at the podium. Speakers 2 and 3, if you would please come forward to the front row. We have a speaker queue, and that'll help keep us on time tonight.
Vic Nichols, Chesapeake. I would like to honor Black Minds Matter and would ask that the school board actually consider having one of their schools here. They have one in Norfolk. They have one in Portsmouth. They're very good, and I would like to see that happen here. Second thing, if we change procedures for the disabled, please let us know beforehand. Third, the NAEP scores just came out. I find it very concerning, not just for the fact that they went down, but the fact that they've been going down since 2017. The other concern that I have, not just with scores going down and wanting to know what the school board could do in conjunction with Superintendent Cotton and our teachers on the issue, but Wees, Poquoson, and York, they all pay less per pupil than what Chesapeake does, but their scores are better. I would like to know that we take a look at what they do and formulate something from there. Thank you.
Speaker number 2, it's your turn at the podium. Please state your name and city of residence before you begin. Speakers 3 and 4, if you'll come to the front row.
Good evening. I'm Robin, a Chesapeake resident and former educator. My purpose in being here is to encourage you to make a motion this evening to change the current policy on allowing non-exempt clubs to use our public schools. I'd like to thank again Mrs. Dean, Mrs. Walker, Mr. Boone, and Mr. McCormick for voting no to allowing non-exempt clubs to meet in our schools, to err on the side of caution. And I'd like to commend Mrs. Dean for having had the ears to hear those of us concerned and the fortitude needed to act on our concerns by putting the well-being and safety of the children above all else. At the last meeting, she requested the information required to call for a revote. Mrs. Swigert responded that revotes weren't possible, but that there were other ways to readdress issues of concern and that she would look at other options with Mrs. Dean. So I'm asking that you support her motion being made that could change the current policy on allowing non-exempt clubs to meet and to vote again. As you recall, my biggest concern has been the Satan Club that has been allowed to meet, which falls under non-exempt clubs. We know that the Satan Club is sponsored by the Satanic Temple, and I've shared much information as to what their true agenda and beliefs are. Most recently, the LGBTQ community, backed by the Satanic Temple, held numerous Pride event marches all across the country due to Pride Month. And you know what their blatant, repeated verbal chant was as they marched? We're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children. I'd like to give you a quote from Thomas Edison that said, "I haven't failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." So tonight I'm here to focus on what may cause you to reconsider other things that could be a danger to allowing these non-exempt clubs. Some may include the Satan Club, but it can apply to any non-exempt club. Just as officers have to check our persons and baggage and attire to make sure we are safe to enter this meeting tonight, are such checks made of the instructors and the facilitators using their school buildings after school hours? What about the fact that no security sweeps are being made to inspect B.M. Williams after the Satan Club has left the building? What if some type of danger was planted, perhaps an installed camera discreetly tucked away? Should there not be as many Chesapeake personnel or staff members at the meetings as there are administrators of the club or their parents? Is there a safe reporting system set up for any concerns incurred before, during, or after the meeting? What about any threat assessments, verbal or behavioral? Is there an emergency operation plan? What exercises and drills are currently being practiced for the safety of all, physically and mentally? What recovery plans as part of an emergency operation plan are intact? Thank you.
Speaker number 3, it's your turn at the podium. Please state your name and city of residence before you begin. Speakers 4 and 5, please come to the speaker queue.
I'm a little taller. Good evening. I'm Mark Foreman. I am a citizen, a voter, and taxpayer of Chesapeake. I've spoken to you 2 times previously. I don't expect you to remember me, but I was one of the hundreds that were here at some of the more controversial ones. Interesting, I got speaker number 3 this time. There wasn't a lot of folks ahead of me. I want to thank all of you for your service. I think often it's a thankless job what you do. You're sort of like the offensive lineman in football. You only get recognized when there's a penalty, when you do a holding call or your quarterback gets sacked. But I know y'all put in countless hours to serve. And even though you were elected, and therefore there was at least someone running against you, there's not a long list of people eager to take this job. Okay, so I know that you serve the community and you serve us well, and we appreciate you. I know the job is hard too. When I realize how much effort you put in and what you're overseeing, and then to be bombarded by so many things that you think, this is not what I signed up for. The last time I spoke, I commented that for all of you that are newly elected, and now you've just finished your first partial year, congratulations, that I had read all of your websites, I read all the information about what you stood for and everything, and not one of you had mentioned the issue of after-school clubs, because it hadn't come up yet. And then, pow, you guys took office and all this broke loose. So I know it's a tough position for you, but as a citizen, I would like to ask you to reconsider the votes before and to remove some of the additional restrictions that were put on after-school clubs and go back to the way it had been. I know that the Satanic Temple and the after-school Satan Club caused a whole lot of controversy and caused a lot of people to say, hey, let's shut down everything. But the old term, don't throw away the baby with the bathwater. Please don't shut down all these clubs. Don't make it so difficult by making the clubs meet many hours after school is out, where parents have to take the kids home, then bring them back. It basically shuts down the effective use of the facility for those clubs. And I did a little bit of research again today just to make sure I was quoting correctly. I actually went to the Satanic Temple website, and they have a quote on their frequently asked questions. The Satanic Temple is not interested in operating after-school Satan clubs in school districts that are not already hosting the Good News Club. They are specifically targeting trying to stop Good News Clubs. They've been meeting in Chesapeake schools, in several schools, for many years without trouble. But it was the Satan Club trying to get after them. And another one of their questions says the Satanic Temple does not advocate for religion in schools. However, once religion invades, that's their word, invades schools as the Good News Clubs have, the Satanic Temple will fight to ensure that plurality and religious liberty are respected. Thank you.
Speaker number 4, it's your turn at the podium. Please state your name and city of residence before you begin. Speakers 5 and 6, if you'll come to the front row.
Hello, I'm Mary Murphy, Chesapeake. I'm here to ask you to reevaluate your policy to allow non-exempt clubs to utilize the Chesapeake Public School facilities. The concerns and controversy presented to you, continuing to be presented to you since last fall regarding a particular non-exempt organization is a major red flag that proper vetting and control of non-exempt clubs is difficult to administer. Your policy states that you may deny a request for use if you judge it not to be in the best interest of the school and community or would result in unacceptable risk. There have been many reasons and justifications presented to you requesting that you invoke the policy as written to deny facility use to a particular organization. Unfortunately, you have not chosen to do so. Your official duties to monitor and oversee employment, maintenance, operation of the Chesapeake school system is your priority, and this issue pulls your focus and energies away from recruiting top-notch educators, counselors, and support personnel needed to provide exceptional learning environments for our children. Your intervention is imperative to again review the school facility use policy and its administration. You've listened to students, parents, citizens, and each other with concerns about things like curriculum, student behavior, employee qualifications, budget, mental health, and safety. These are all important issues of things that go on during the school day. After-school clubs and meetings should be limited only to those that fully support Chesapeake Public School mission. As a concerned citizen and taxpayer, I object to the use of Chesapeake school facilities for any non-exempt organization that is duplicitous, presents flawed information, and causes grave concern of parents and citizens. The particular club's promotion of rebellion and self-centeredness and the organization's founding motive and tenets are unacceptable to proper childhood, social development, and good citizenship. They also repeatedly threaten you that you can't stop them from meeting. They don't emphasize what they can do for the children. They just keep, even though they don't stand for the Pledge of Allegiance when it's being said, they get up and quote the Founding Fathers and the Constitution repeatedly to you that you will let them meet and you can't stop them. I urge you to reevaluate your decision on non-exempt clubs, and I pray that you will invoke your authority to properly vet non-exempt groups requesting the use of any Chesapeake Public School facility or revise your policy to exclude non-exempt entities. I'm sorry that some good club programs may be affected by any decisions, but allowing bad programs to coexist with good is not defensible. Thank you.
Speaker number 5, it's your turn at the podium. Speakers 6 and 7, if you'll come to the front row.
Good evening, all. I'm Bill Devins. Tonight, I strongly urge you to return to the regulations regarding after-school clubs that were in place before the Satan Club was started here in Chesapeake. In a world of TikTok, social media, and video games, after-school clubs provide needed positive interaction among children. Any changes to the regulations that have been or plan to be instituted exhibit a complete lack of consideration for the students and their families. Think about the impact of delaying club start times on students and families and how it will ultimately discourage club attendance. This will be the scenario if club start times are moved back. After school, the child will need to ride the bus home. The child will engage in some activity at home to fill the time, and whatever activity they are engaged in will need to be disrupted to attend the club. A family member will then need to drive the child to school. Subsequent to club activity, the child will need to be picked up and driven home. Bottom line, this will add 2 extra time-consuming trips for the child and an extra trip for the parents or guardian who may have to take off work early to pick up their child. Few parents are going to take off work early to drive their child to an after-school club and then turn around to pick them up. Further, what child wants to spend as much extra time on the road as they spend attending the club? As for the impetus of these changes in policies, the Satan Club will have achieved its ultimate objective of significantly diminishing Good News Club attendance. Reduced attendance to other clubs will just be collateral damage. It is absolutely irresponsible to put in place a policy that adversely affects 240,000 club members and their families across Chesapeake on account of 10 or 20 atheists. Satan will have been given a victory at the expense of the Good News Club. The voters of Chesapeake will have only the members of this school board to blame. With all that is going on in this world, these kids need positive forces in their lives. The Good News Club gives them that. I beseech you to reconsider. take the responsible action, ignore the Satan Club, and return to the regulations that had been in place and worked for years. God bless you, and may the God Almighty drive your decision on this matter. Thank you for the time.
Speaker number 6, it's your turn at the podium. Please state your name and city of residence before you begin. Speakers 7 and 8, if you'll come forward.
Hi, I'm Donnie Devens, and I live in the city of Chesapeake. I just wanted to add just my voice to those who are urging you to restore the school club regulations back to where they had been for years. It would really cause problems for the schools that meet right after school. It's just so a convenient thing for everybody, parents, and just it's easy on everybody. So I would just ask you to do so. And it's been going on for a while, and it's been very well. Thank you for your time, and I know it does take time for y'all to do this, and you have to listen to all of these speeches. So mine is short. Have a good day. Thank you.
Speaker number 7, it's your turn at the podium. Speakers 8 and 9, if you'll come forward.
My name is Tracy Frank. I'm a resident of Chesapeake. Good evening. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. First, I want to thank you for taking your commitment to the job of being on the school board seriously. You obviously care about our children, hence this discussion that's going on. I have a few questions for you to consider in the matter of the after-school clubs before you make further decisions. 1, were things running smoothly prior to the application of the Satan Club? 2, in February, were changes to the regulations regarding clubs a result of the Satan Club application and the uproar its application caused? Were the changes to regulations meant to prevent this group from establishing their club in a Chesapeake school? If so, remember that whatever regulations you establish for a group you don't like will also apply to a group you do like. These changes may come back to haunt you. Do the current proposed regulations broaden or restrict opportunities for children? Do the current proposed regulations restrict the ability of parents to decide which after-school clubs or activities are best for their children? Do school-sponsored clubs or activities provide the varied needs of all the children? Are the clubs more academic or athletic? Not all children are academic. Not all children are athletic. And so some of these clubs in which they can participate and thrive, performance isn't a requirement. So we don't want to get rid of those opportunities. Other people have spoken about how it disrupts the home and how much time it takes to get the children home and come back and all that. Fear should not be the basis of decisions. Otherwise, we would never do anything because there is always a reason to fear things, even good things. Fear limits opportunities. We don't want to limit the opportunities of our children. We want to teach them to be strong in the face of things that we fear, teach them how to deal with those things instead of running away from them. More regulations equals more stress, less freedom, less opportunities. Less regulations mean less stress, more freedom, and more opportunities, and I think that's what we want for our children and our families. Thank you so much.
Speaker number 8, it's your turn at the podium. Speakers 9 and 10, if you'll come forward.
Good afternoon. My name is Rita Bunner. I'm a Virginia Beach resident, and I'm here to ask you to reverse your policy on after-school clubs. I've been involved with CEF for over 30 years. It's a well-respected international organization, and the 3 after-school clubs that I've worked in were very successful and well-attended. The children were eager to come back the next year and even asked us to go on to the middle school rather than the elementary level. The teachers and staff at each school were very welcoming and happy to have our volunteers involved with the children and school events. And over the years, we've heard many positive comments on how the Bible Club made a difference in the behavior of the children. I feel that restricting the club's access to a timely after-school use would have an adverse effect on the students who attend and the total atmosphere of the school. Please allow the continued use of the school property at the immediately after-school time slot to enhance the well-being of students at each school where CEF is involved. The Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he'll not depart from it, and that's Proverbs 22:6. Thank you for your time.
Speaker number 9, it's your turn at the podium. Please state your name and city of residence before you begin. Speakers 10 and 11, if you'll come to the speaker queue.
Honorable school board members, Dr. Smith and Dr. Vail, thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is William Bunner. I'm a Virginia Beach resident. I'm here to speak in favor of having a policy changed to allow access for the after-school Good News clubs and other clubs that may want to attend. The additional amount of time that will happen, 1 to 3 hours, is going to make the access by family to be able to pick up the students that want to attend these clubs impossible. And that and the custodial fees and the additional requirements that are required for insurance is going to make it difficult. We have many good testimonies from principals and students and mostly parents that are like what we do for the after-school Good News clubs. And I just wanted to voice my opinion in doing that. I encourage you to vote as the parents wish in this case. Thank you for your time.
Speaker number 10, it's your turn at the podium. Speakers 11 and 12, if you'll come to the front.
My name is Calvin Dunn. I've lived in Chesapeake for over 30 years. My wife grew up in Chesapeake and has lived here all her life. I'm speaking in to request that you revert back to the original rules governing Good News clubs and, for that matter, all the other clubs before the Satan Club issues came into effect. I've worked and served in a Good News club for many years, 10 years. I'm also on the local CEF board that governs these clubs. And it's been a great joy of my life to do that, to meet with the children, not to serve on the board, but to meet with the children. This board and the National Group of Child Evangelism Fellowship is very well organized. Every person who is a member who works in that club has to have a background check, and it's periodically reviewed. Every team has certain standards and have been trained in child protection rules and regulations. And we have people who go around to each of our clubs and periodically audit them, sit in, and see that they are doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing, because the children are important to us as they are to you. Our church supports the club. We pay over $1,000 for the last 10 years. Each year we pay $1,000 to rent the cafeteria because we have a fairly big group. Our church supports that. We're a small church, but we do it anyway. Our church is technically in Virginia Beach, but the dividing line between Virginia Beach and Chesapeake goes right through the middle of it, so we mostly Chesapeake. We support the staff as a church on a regular basis. We ask them for people who, at Christmas and Thanksgiving, who need help for dinners. We provide that as well because we want to and we can. The children we see, that I can only speak for myself, but over the years, the children we see problems that I've never saw when I was growing up, and I'm north of 70. They see divorce on a regular basis. They see death. This year, one of the little children at my table had told me their mother had cancer. Cancer. A child shouldn't know about cancer, but they do. They know about divorce. A few years back, we had two brothers who were in our club, and both of them came to us and told them that they had just been informed by our... Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, thank you so much.
Speaker number 11, it's your turn at the podium. Please state your name and city of residence before you begin. Speakers 12 and 13, if you'll come forward.
My name is Joseph Williams. I'm a resident of Chesapeake, have been for 40 years. For the last 6 years, I've been in Good News Club, Norfolk Highlands. I love that school. I love those kids. I love that faculty. They are my friends. The faculty are my friends and my colleagues, and I love to be with them. I love those kids. Calvin's one of my team. I understand what he's saying. These kids are gorgeous. They're wonderful children, but they're kids and they need all the help they can get. I'm not seeking to silence anyone. I'm not seeking to do any harm to anyone. I just want to be with my kids, to hear their troubles and help them walk through them, to teach them a little bit about life and how to get along. And I want to keep on doing that. Find a way, please.
Speaker number 12, it's your turn at the podium. Please state your name and city of residence before you begin.
Good evening, school board members. My name is Rachel Daniels, and I have been a Chesapeake resident for 20 years, and I'm a proud parent of 4 wonderful children who have all attended Chesapeake Public Schools. I also have had the privilege of being a team leader for an after-school Good News Club at Butts Road Primary since 2017. And in the 6 years of volunteering for Good News Club, I've had the privilege of seeing over 150 children participate in our club, and several have participated multiple years. Our Good News Club has provided a positive impact for these children, their families, and ultimately our community. It also provides a wonderful opportunity, or a wonderful after-school opportunity, to share God's love with these children, several of whom, as you've already heard, have come from difficult family situations. I have never had any parent express any negative feedback of our club, but instead I hear very positive comments from both parents as well as teachers and other staff members at the school. The children are always excited to come in the morning and tell their teachers that they're going to Good News Club that day. And so in a previous email that I provided to each of you, I shared some examples from some parents, but today I brought an example of just a thank you card from several parents, and I want to just read one of them to you. It says, thank you for bringing the Lord to our children. There's no repayment high enough. Your commitment and love have changed our lives. Praying for many blessings as well as a continuation of such a wonderful, life-changing after-school club. And the Good News Club has impacted not just these families, but it's impacted mine as well. So when we started our club in 2017, 2 of our youngest kids got to participate, and so now they actually get to help in our club, which is pretty awesome, so they get to help out. And the kids, of course, love having teenagers helping out as well because they make it so much more fun. And so it's been a true joy and a blessing to see these children's hearts soften and to be more joyful, and even in times, especially even in times of their own family struggles. So as a Chesapeake resident and parent, I ask that you relax the rules and continue to allow after-school clubs to take place right after school. Please allow the parents the opportunity to make the choice for their children. The parents of our Good News Club students have told me that by moving the club to a later time, that would be more challenging to get their child to and from the school and also impact the bedtimes for some of their younger students. Please do not let one club that has minimal participation and will likely dissolve on its own take away all other clubs that have in no way negatively impacted the community. The options that are being discussed could eliminate Good News Clubs as well as other clubs from being available to families which have had a positive impact on our community for several years. Thank you for your time and consideration and for serving our community.
Speaker number 13, it's your turn at the podium. Speakers 14 and 15, if you'll come forward.
My name is Tracy Williams from Norfolk, and I oversee the after-school Good News Clubs, a weekly Bible club held in the public schools. There is no cost, and it's open to all boys and girls with a signed registration form. For the 22-23 school year in Tidewater, there is almost 190 committed volunteers serving in 25 Good News Clubs with 646 children enrolled. Many of these students return year after year. Let me share a testimony from a Good News Club so you can better understand the importance that these clubs have on our children. When a school announcement was made that the Good News Club would be canceled for the day, one of the students who attended the Good News Club began to cry. He called back to this teacher and said, "Tell the principal that we must have the Good News Club today." The child continued to sob uncontrollably. He was taken to the principal's office, where he explained to the principal that his father tried to kill his mother. He stabbed her multiple times. The father went to jail, and the children were separated. He said, "I've been waiting a lot of days to get back to my Good News Club because I know they care about me and will talk to God about us. I don't know anyone else that talks to God and can help us." The children in our schools are faced with violence and abuse that is unimaginable, as we saw in the Newport News school shooting of a teacher by her 6-year-old student. The children need after-school programs like the Good News Club. Since the new policy change was implemented in March, 2 churches unsuccessfully tried to have a Good News Club, but experienced difficulty due to the new regulations. The 2-hour cost minimum for each club each day, time delay between 2 to 3 hours, and unnecessary additional insurance. The complaint and concerns have never been against the Good News Clubs. But these changes, if not reversed, will cancel our Good News Clubs in the Chesapeake Public Schools. Will you hear the pleas of this child and change the revised policy and allow after-school programs to continue? Thank you.
Speaker number 14, it's your turn at the podium. Please state your name and city of residence before you begin.
My name is Carl Gerlach. I've been a resident of Chesapeake for the past 49 years, and I want to thank you for your service to our school system and how important that is. I am also the prayer coordinator for Good News Clubs in Chesapeake and the surrounding cities. And if you would hear the prayer requests that we get from our children, you can understand the value of our program. And on our city vehicles, we have the motto, "In God we trust." And so I'm trusting and praying that you would allow all programs to continue right after school, with a minimum cost and requirements, so that we can minister to our children. I want to thank you for your time.
Speaker number 15, it's your turn at the podium. Speakers 16, 17, and 18, if you'll come forward.
Good evening. My name is Gina Koss. I live in Virginia Beach. I want to thank School Board Member Amanda Dean, who recommended at the last meeting that the issue of the use of school facilities for non-school sponsored clubs be revised and possibly amended. I'm here in favor of moving away from providing rental space on school property for any outside activities. Now, the main reason for my position is that I'm a follower of Jesus Christ, and I oppose anyone and anything who would dare to offend Christ the King. However, since it's clear this sort of position is absolutely foreign to the lot of you and to those who call themselves Christian, allow me to appeal to you as an experienced educator. My frame of reference is having spent nearly 25 years as an administrator and teacher. Much of my time was spent making decisions as to the best use of precious resources and our stakeholder assets, including facilities. By allowing non-school sponsor activities, you effectively lose control over the process and must allow anybody who petitions for consideration, no matter how disruptive, counterproductive, and yes, evil they may be. So going forward, there's endless risk of various fringe groups seeking approval and entry. And yes, collateral damage would be to the Good News Club. That is unfortunate. However, our goal as educators and this school board should be to enhance learning and achievement. And anytime resources are spent on distractions or they distract from resources, we should minimize this and outright avoid it. I submit that the time and resources spent in consideration of these clubs is excessive. There are plenty other options available for space rental for worthy causes. Yes, area churches, and it will be a process. It will be a challenge, but let us be up to this challenge to find good homes for these clubs in area churches or other facilities. They should not be taking place in school facilities. So let all groups, including any fringe or controversial elements, seek their rental elsewhere. Please get back to the business of educating children in the best way that you can on an academic basis. Thank you.
Speaker number 16, it's your turn at the podium. Please state your name and city of residence before you begin.
Good evening, school board members and guests. My name is Susan Chapman, and I'm a resident of Virginia Beach City, and I'm here to address the reverse of regulations for after-school Good News Club and other clubs. I'm a retired teacher of 30-plus years. I'm a mother of 4 children, 2 grandchildren, and a district team leader for Child Evangelism Fellowship. I've received numerous thanks from parents of the children that have attended the Good News Club over the last 5 years of which I have been a part. One of the moms from the Good News Club, from which I'm a part of, texted me, "Joining the club is actually the best decision. Thank you guys for bringing my son closer to God. He always tries his best to be a child of the light." Another team leader, of which I am over, shared the second year we had a Good News Club, a 3rd grader named Liam took the registration form home and asked his mom if he could join. She was very anti-Christian and said no. His family had just moved from another state and were living with his grandparents while they hunted for a house. Liam appealed to his granny for help. The mom's statement to Granny was, "You know Liam already gets in enough trouble in school because he has some issues. I'm not adding another person to call me and tell me he cannot attend and then have to rush home in time to pick him up." Liam's granny said, "If you will sign him up, I'll call the team leader and explain his issues. Put my number on the registration form and I will pick him up each week." She finally agreed with a warning to Liam. If he caused any trouble, he would not go again. Liam was very wriggly, and at times it appeared he was not listening at all. But Liam and I formed a special bond, and I sat beside him a lot that year. His mom even gave us permission to give him a Bible. He and his granny read it together. By the end of the school year, his parents bought a house in Chesapeake. There is a church in their neighborhood, and Liam begged his parents to let him attend. This year, Liam gave his heart to Jesus and was baptized. Liam is now the leader in his youth group. His dad has started attending church, and his mom attends occasionally. Liam also makes good grades now and has no issues. Our God is an awesome God. Words from the team leader. Not only does Good News Club teach Bible lessons, memory verses, play review games, and sing songs about God and how much He loves them and how He has a plan and a purpose for their lives, but we also teach the kids life lessons and how the children can make positive choices each day and treat others with kindness. Frederick Douglass once said, "It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men." Last school year, Child Evangelism Fellowship Tidewater Chapter was able to reach 651 children. Thank you.
Speaker number 17, it's your turn at the podium. Speaker number 18, if you'll come to the front.
My name is Steve Shearbaum. I'm a resident of Chesapeake. I'm here again to express my opposition to the after-school Satan Club meeting at B.M. Williams. My coming here today is bittersweet. As I have expressed, I'm upset that the after-school Satan Club was allowed to meet on 5 occasions and showed up 4 times to hold their meetings. I'm encouraged, though, as Amanda Dean expressed a desire to look at the issue of allowing non-exempt clubs to meet on school property. I've been praying that you will do the right thing and ensure that the Satanic Club can no longer meet on school property. I hope that tonight will be the answer to my prayers and the prayers of so many Chesapeake residents. With my limited amount of time, I would like to reconsider a piece of evidence that was provided to the school board, which I felt ultimately influenced your decision to allow non-exempt clubs to meet when you held your initial vote several months ago. The argument was that the Satanists would just go away regardless of your decision. The argument centered around the thought that the Satanists only targeted B.M. Williams because there was a Good News Club that meets there. The thought was if the Good News Club was able to meet at B.M. Williams, the Satanists would go on to another target and try to shut down another Good News Club location. I believe we should give the devil his due and admit that the group of Satanists is quite dedicated. They want access to our children, and they're going to jump through hoops and make sacrifices to ensure that it happens. As an aside, the hoops that you made them jump through have essentially ruined one of the non-exempt clubs you tried to save based on the testimony of a Girls on a Run sponsor at a prior school board meeting, and we see that today with the Good News Club. Through your actions to allow non-exempt clubs to meet, we have seen Satanists continue to come to school board meetings and make B.M. Williams a school that teaches pre-K through second grade students a popular Satanist hangout every third Thursday of the month. This has been an embarrassment for the city of Chesapeake. At each after-school Satan Club meeting, there are many more satanic adults than children. I don't know who these adults are. I asked questions before that I never received answers to. They were, do you know who these adults are? Did they have to pass background checks? Many never entered the school building and remained on the sidewalk. Is this because they did not or could not pass background checks? Are any of these people sex offenders or pedophiles? The ball is obviously in your court as to what you wish to have done in terms of the after-school Satan Club meeting. If you do make the decision to allow the club to meet next year, I invite all of you to stand outside and watch as young children walk into the school. Praying the rosary with a group of dedicated individuals, I can tell you this has an impact on many. I've seen many people cry. Imagine how much more God feels for these children and all involved as this blasphemy continues. May God have mercy on you all and guide you to do the right thing. Thank you.
Speaker number 18, it's your turn at the podium. Please state your name and city of residence before you begin.
My name is Terry Dickerson. I'm a resident of Chesapeake. I'm here to speak about the cavalier attitude of this board as far as the security of the students that attend your schools. When Chesapeake had a bomb threat called in, the students were kept in place in the school, in the classrooms. If that bomb had gone off, that would have guaranteed collateral. People would have been killed. Children would have been killed. Nothing has come out from the school district about this or anything else. Now let's go on to another aspect, which is going to be the next thing you're going to be looking at. You're going to be looking at the after-school Satan Club because they have now put on the internet for you to look at if you wish to, that they're going to your high schools. Now, the children in kindergarten through second grade are fairly safe as far as what might happen to them. They will be inculcated into wrong thinking, which is something school districts should never have happen. But when teenagers can now Google and find out all the bad things about a particular subject and then find ways to bring it into the classrooms or into the school itself, then you're now looking at a totally different problem, something that you're going to have to deal with very fervently. There is no mistake that you are opening our children up to grave danger, and each one of you is culpable for your decisions, personally culpable for your decisions. Please think, stop being a sounding board for other people that come up and say, things are going great. We've heard from the Good News Club and other schools, and that's been a real nice, fuzzy, fun thing saying how good it is. But the fact is, when it was first brought up in December of last year, many churches offered their facilities for those schools, clubs to meet there. And they even said they could provide busing to those locations so it could be done just after school, which would not make it difficult for parents to have to actually take care of their kids. So that though they do good jobs for what they say they're doing, they don't belong in a school environment if they cannot ensure the safety of the whole school. Each and every one of you who has a vote must consider that their vote is now going to affect some 7 high schools that you must now make safe from future stuff. Yes, it is. And yours is also.
This concludes our speakers for this evening.
Usually engage in dialogue, and that is our intent tonight. If appropriate and not already provided, someone for the superintendent's staff will evaluate your concern and provide a response. We will now move on to the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion for approval. Moved by Mr. Mercer. Is there seconded by Mr. Lamonia? Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Dr. Smith.
Motion carries with all board members voting yes.
We are now moving on to the information agenda. The first item is the monthly financial report. Ms. Lucente.
Receive over $1 million from Department of Defense Supplemental Impact Aid. So we are currently expecting excess revenue, so the concerns we've had all year long are no longer going to be a concern. Thank you. I will sleep easier for the rest of the month. There's no shortfall. Our expenditures have been keeping up with expectations. We still have vacancies, but we're still seeing increases in fuel and utilities and certain other costs, which will of course carry into next year, but we'll be monitoring that as we get into the next fiscal year. Your final report for the month of June will probably come in August or September when the audit is ready to be completed, and we'll bring an interim or a final report then for the month of June. So this will be the last report until we get into the next school year for the current fiscal year. If you have any questions, I'm available.
I see no questions, so thank you, Ms. Lucente. The last item on the information agenda is the ID badge program. Dr. Miller.
Thank you, Chair Swaggart. Tonight, I'd like to introduce you to Dr. David Benson, the Director of Student Transportation, and Ms. Gigi Badawi, Assistant Director of Technology and Integration. And I would be remiss if I did not also introduce Mr. Herbert Bird, the Assistant Director of Student Transportation. They have been working hard on this project. Dr. Benson and Mrs. Badawi will give you an overview of the school ID badge pilot program that was completed at Norfolk Highlands Primary this past school year. He will also, Mrs. Badawi and Dr. Benson will also present plans for phasing in an ID badge program division-wide. Dr. Benson.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. Good evening, Ms. Swaggart, board members, Dr. Cotton, and staff. We're here to share information with you on the ID badge pilot at Norfolk Highlands Primary. The pilot has been very successful, and tonight we plan to give you an overview of the pilot and plans for phasing the ID badge program in division-wide. We began using ID badges in March this current year at Norfolk Highlands Primary. We focused on utilizing many functionalities of the ID badges. During the pilot at Norfolk Highlands, several uses were identified that proved to be beneficial to the school as well as transportation and school nutrition. The ID badges have dual capability, allowing for RFID swipes and barcode swipes to accommodate several different needs. RFID swipes were used on the buses to capture ridership on the 8 routes that serve Norfolk Highlands Primary. Additionally, we had 22 buses that were set up with Z-Pass capability that could be used as spares for these routes. Barcodes that were printed on the ID badge were used to swipe for students to purchase lunches in the cafeteria, check out library books, and most recently to capture tardy data in Synergy. On May the 11th, 2023, the ID Badge Committee met to consider next steps for the division. After reviewing all the aspects of the pilot, the committee recommended expansion to a division-wide program which will be implemented over a 2-year period. During the upcoming school year, all 28 elementary schools will be using ID badges. Secondary schools will be added during the 24-25 school year. While the ID badges allow us to quickly tell when and where students enter and exit the buses, providing an additional safety measure, data collected for ridership will assist with submitting information necessary for Medicaid reimbursement for transportation in the future. I'll now turn it over to Ms. Badawi, who will share other aspects of the program.
All right, thank you, Dr. Benson. Good evening, everyone. Okay, so the design pictured here shows the layout of the ID badges that were used during the Norfolk Highlands primary pilot. During the pilot, we expected to replace a large quantity of badges. Therefore, we provided a card printer for replacements. However, when the students returned to school after spring break, we only had to print 2. This hopefully will be the trend as we move forward at all elementary schools. While that is our hope, each elementary school will be provided with a printer that can be used to print new and replacement cards for students. As stated earlier, during our pilot, we collected ridership and tardy data. Students used the ID badges to purchase lunches and to check out library books. As we expand the program, the future uses could include daily attendance, access control, and assistance with reunification. Lastly, students will be required to have a photo on their ID badge as another security measure. As for replacement badges, the following items were recommended by the committee. The first year badges will be free to students. The following year, any replacement badges would be at a cost of $5 after receiving 2 badges. In the event of a lost badge, only 1 meal can be purchased per serving occasion. The recommendation is to print new badges every 3 years or so, aligning with the replacement cycle of the badge printers. Thank you. Can we answer any questions for you all?
Ms. Dean?
Thank you. I just have a quick question. Since the recommendation is to continue to expand and roll this out throughout the district, can you just provide some information around the metrics or the success criteria that was used to determine why you should expand for the pilot, what you were aiming to achieve and how it was achieved that made that determination to continue to expand?
Initially, when we started looking at it, the original intent was to capture ridership for the students on the buses. So we would have better data not only as to where they get on, but where they get off the bus, so that we could better identify and give parents information as to where they're getting on and where they're getting off. And then it just kind of expanded into other aspects because Mr. Wade, through school nutrition, was looking for a way to streamline the lunch lines so that they could get students through the lunch lines quicker by scanning a barcode as opposed to punching in. And then we also found that it was very accessible to being able to use to check out library books and streamlining that process. So it just kind of, it continued, and as Ms. Badawi was saying, for future uses, there are other aspects that can be considered moving forward. So that's what it was based on.
So you did see, for example, a reduction in the amount of time it takes students to get through the lunch line by the use of this.
Yes,
that was
yes,
something.
ma'am. And I don't want to speak for Mr. Wade,
Sure.
but I know he was very pleased with the outcome.
Okay, thank you.
And from a transportation perspective, being able to have better data on the ridership in our buses was huge for our department as well.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mercer?
Can you go back to the picture of the badge?
Yes,
that's up
sir.
There you go. First of all, I'm amazed that you didn't have that many badges you had to reproduce.
Me too.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
But then I went to Norfolk College, so I understand those kids. They're remarkably good. But my question is, when you have to replace one, because that badge is somewhere. Does it go through a whole new process of another barcode, so that the other barcode is retired?
So what ends up happening, I'll speak to the RFID that's on the back. The RFID that actually captures the ridership for the buses, that one can be reset completely so that the student doesn't have it. Now, as far as the barcode,
You understand what I'm saying?
I do,
There's a
I do.
possibility that you could get under this thing, I hate to say it, but 3 cards.
Well, and that's where
So-
those safety measures with regard to if a student were to find the badge that still had the barcode on it, because that is printed on the badge, they would not be able, when they scan for lunch, not only can they only purchase one meal, when they scan for lunch, the person at the register, their photo pops up on the screen. So if it's found by a different student, we would be able to capture it that way. It also happens when they scan for tardy data, or they scan for checking out library books. If they use the barcode, it would be a means of capturing if another student happened to pick up someone else's card.
Yeah, I'm just worried about the possibility of extra tags out there, and that's my question with that. It sounds like you've got some degree of security to be able to get a handle
Correct.
on that.
correct.
The other thing is, I'm looking on the one on the right-hand side, and it says, there's some numbers there, my eyes won't do it, but then it says Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, and that's on these ones for the elementary school kids?
It will be. It was not on the pilot card, but
Okay.
that's something that moving forward is something that will be on the back of the cards that would be used next year.
Mr. Mercer, that is a House bill that just was passed. That
Yeah.
anytime that we have ID badges, that we are required to put that on the back of the ID badges. We're also going to put on the ID badge, it's not called Quick Tip anymore, but it's a new platform that we have for any time that you want to, a student or parent wants to tell us about a safety concern, that's what that barcode is for. So we'll have that up there as well. Well, QR code, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The QR code will be there so that they can automatically go to that and type in anything that they want to let us know about. Remember, we talked about the quick tip and having everyone know what the quick tip was. This is a quick way for them to access that through the QR code. But the General Assembly just passed that we have to put the suicide
That
on
sounds
any
like a
ID
whole,
cards.
much more intelligent question than I thought it was going to be. Thank you.
Mr. McCormick?
One question about the data that's transmitted. Would it be possible in real time when a child swipes into or off of a bus to transmit that data directly to a parent or a guardian? I think one of the biggest shortcomings of the school bus hub is it's not useful if you're on a substitute bus, and if that data could be transmitted, then you would know that your child was on a substitute bus.
There is a possibility of that, but we're currently working with getting some customization done for the current School Bus Hub app that we have. And that would be something that could be considered moving forward, but there is an option for a component to be added. But we wanted to see through the current app that we have, and we're getting some customization done with that to make that more successful than it has been, and it would help with the substituting of buses that would make that more successful. But there are some options we can consider moving forward if that's something that we decide to do.
All right, thank you.
I don't see any additional questions, so thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
There being no items on the action agenda, we will now move to the superintendent's report. Dr. Cotton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just one quick announcement before I go into the spotlight. I'd just like to remind the public that our schools and administrative offices will be closed on Tuesday, July 4th. I don't think we needed that reminder, but we'll put it out there. Of course, we'll be observing Independence Day. At this time tonight, my spotlight is dedicated to the more than 3,000 students who walked across the stage of the Chartway Arena June 14th through the 16th and became our newest Chesapeake Public Schools alumni. To celebrate their achievements, I'd like to take a few minutes to introduce to you our 2023 valedictorians and salutatorians from each of our 7 high schools. I'd also like to thank the members of the board who joined me and my team at graduation ceremonies and we're able to hear from some of these top scholars in person. First up is Deep Creek High School. Deep Creek High School is proud of their valedictorian, Ashka Patel, who earned an impressive 5.07 GPA and plans to attend VCU in the fall. The Hornets salutatorian is Morgan Porgoletsky. Sorry about that. Morgan graduated with a 5.05 GPA and will be studying nursing at the University of Virginia. Next up are top scholars from Grassfield High School. Their valedictorian, Abby Copperthite, will further her education in the fall at the University of Virginia after finishing her high school career with an impressive 5.06 grade point average. Right behind her is the number 2 spot. Their salutatorian, Regina Zhang, earned a 5.04 GPA and plans to attend MIT. Congratulations to our Wildcats. Great Bridge High School's valedictorian is Lydia Hall. Lydia earned a 5.04 GPA and plans to major in mechanical engineering at Purdue this fall. Andrew Mooney is the Great Bridge High salutatorian. Andrew will further his education at the College of William & Mary and earned a final weighted GPA of 5.02. I don't know about you all, but I didn't know they went that high. Speaking for a friend. All right, Sydney Piper Reese represented Hickory High School as their valedictorian with an impressive 5.15 GPA. The Hawks are also proud of their salutatorian, Andrew Winterstein, who earned a 4.99 GPA. Congratulations to Piper and Andrew, who will both attend the University of Virginia this fall. The Braves are proud of their 2 top scholars this year. Aiden Whitney served as valedictorian with a 4.99 GPA, with plans to attend the College of William & Mary to pursue business after taking a gap year. And Indian River High School's salutatorian, Terrence McDuffie. Many of you have had a chance to meet Terrence over the past couple of years through the SCA. He also plans to attend William & Mary. Terrence finished his high school career with a 4.83 GPA. The Tigers are honoring 3 of their top students, valedictorian Carrie Brown and co-salutatorians Alyssa Emond and Lily Pan. Carrie earned a weighted GPA of 5.18 and will attend the United States Naval Academy. Alyssa and Lily tied for second place with GPAs of 4.75 and will both attend the University of Virginia this fall. Last but not least, the salutatorian from Western Ranch High School is Caroline Brecky. Her 4.95 GPA earned her spot at Duke University this fall. Haley Butler is the Bruin valedictorian with an overall GPA of 5.0. Haley plans to pursue a degree in human nutrition, food, and exercise science at Virginia Tech. As I'm sure you can see, this graduating class was full of impressive students with plans to go out and do great things in the world. I'm so proud of each and every one of them. The valedictorians who you were introduced to tonight were also able to celebrate their achievements last week, the last week of school as a matter of fact, with their family at the annual Rotary Scholarship Luncheon. The event, organized by Mr. Harry Murphy, former board member and former chair, included the presentation of scholarships to each of the seniors. And please join me again in congratulating the class of 2023. Thank you. This completes my spotlight for this evening.
Thank you. Last on our agenda this evening is board member items. Does any board member have items to bring before the group? Ms. Dean?
Thank you, Chair Swigert. So I know that a couple of folks have mentioned it tonight, so I feel it's important to address it. At the last school board meeting, I did request that an agenda item be added to have a revote on the school facility use policy. What has happened since then, what has transpired since then is, shame on me for using the word revote, and a little bit of a learning curve being new on the board. But based on our Roberts rule, I can't call for a revote because I, for lack of a better word, I'm on the losing side of this, and someone on the prevailing side of the vote would need to do so. And so I'm gonna try it again though, because I'm not a quitter. So I'm gonna see if I get this right this time, and I am going to ask that at our next meeting on which I believe is on July 10th, that there is an item added to the agenda which would be a revision to the current policy and regulation 5.25, use of school facilities. And that revision would be around removing non-exempt organizations from that. I am hopeful, and I want to thank everybody who spoke tonight and folks that sent emails. There were a couple things that were said that I do think I need to clear up. Again, this is about non-exempt organizations. This is not about school-sponsored. I also think it's important to note, because I got a couple of, I'd say, semi-aggressive emails around these are public facilities and we shouldn't be restricting use of any kind to the public. I think it's important for everybody to know that our school facilities are public for a purpose. They are not, in general, open to the public, and that purpose of our facilities is it's open to the public to educate our students, and us as a school board, our number one objective should be ensuring that we have a safe and secure learning environment to provide a high quality education for the students of Chesapeake. And I personally, and I can only speak for myself, in my opinion, firmly believe that by removing non-exempt organizations from being able to utilize our facilities, that is in line with our objective as a school board and what we're trying to do here in Chesapeake. So thank you again for everybody that reached out. I will stay very clear from the word revote as we go forward, and we will see what happens. Thank you.
Ms. Scott?
Thanks. I just remember sitting on that side of the room and always wanting to know what board members were thinking, and because Ms. Dean had brought this up at the last meeting and again tonight, I just want to offer some transparency and even some assurance to Chesapeake citizens, because when I ran for office, I ran to give Chesapeake families a seat at the table and a voice in the process, and Chesapeake families have made it really abundantly clear to me where they want me to stand on this issue, and I just want to offer some reassurance that I haven't wavered on that, but I do, there are a couple things that I agree on, and I'm going to get to that in just a second. I just want to be clear that the areas that they wanted me to stand on was, one, to oppose the agenda of the ASSC. It's obvious. It's listed on their website. It's been stated at that podium multiple times, and it's been stated on social media, which is that they are opposed to the existence of the Good News Club in any public school facility for after school, even though it's not happening during school, it's after school. So that's been their agenda, is to shut down the Good News Club, regardless of the casualties, regardless if it shuts down 39 other groups that are completely have nothing to do with it, and regardless of the fact that the Good News Club has had decades of a positive and productive relationship with Chesapeake Public School and Chesapeake families. The second thing that families have made it clear to me is their children's ability to participate in after-school extracurricular activities, whether they're school-sponsored or non-school sponsored, is highly dependent upon the location and the time, meaning that they're at school and they're after school. As a working parent myself, I empathize with Chesapeake families. I empathize with these working parents. My children have participated in school-sponsored activities like the Lego team. Thank you, Mr. Sammons and Ms. Thomas, or Ms. Thompson, for organizing that. That was a school-sponsored event. My kids have also participated in non-school sponsored activities like Girls on the Run and the Good News Club, and their ability to participate in those were dependent upon being able to access it, that it was right after school and it was at the school. The third thing that parents made clear to me is that they did not want their hard-earned tax dollars to go towards a lawsuit that would not be productive. We just saw what happened in Pennsylvania with that school district, that they ultimately lost a First Amendment lawsuit. So I've heard them. I haven't wavered on that stance, but what I do take responsibility for is that I do think there's been some unintended consequences. Not necessarily the policy per se, but I do think maybe some of the regulations have added an undue burden, not just on groups that are renting our facilities, but on our administrative staff who are working incredibly hard. That was certainly not my intent. I can't speak on behalf of anybody else, but I don't think that was their intent either. So I'm not opposed to reviewing some of the regulations and maybe try to pinpoint where there's problematic areas or what's causing a burden and addressing those areas, because I value the community partnerships with Chesapeake Public Schools. We're not here to make a profit. I understand that this isn't profitable to rent our facilities. There are things that you can't put a dollar value on that have value. There are things that people bring to Chesapeake Public Schools and that Chesapeake families benefit from that you can't put a dollar figure on. And I'm so appreciative. I'm so appreciative and encouraged to hear so many people who have volunteered in Chesapeake Public Schools freely giving their time to sow into our children's lives. I think you can't put a dollar figure on that, and just know that as a Chesapeake citizen and a Chesapeake parent, I'm deeply grateful for you. I'm deeply grateful for the administrators and the educators that have worked together to facilitate. So I appreciate all that you've done. And I understand that sometimes there's inconveniences, but I think in life sometimes doing what's inconvenient and doing what's hard, it doesn't mean it's not worth it. It doesn't mean it's not good. So anyway, I just wanted to offer some reassurance to Chesapeake families. I haven't changed my stance on the issue, but I do agree that perhaps we should review some of the regulations and simplify some things.
Mr. Mercer?
Ms. Scott, you said you sat out there, and I hadn't heard one of those speeches since you sat out there, so it was good to hear you back in vogue. I maybe thought you'd lost that ability. I have the distinct honor and privilege this evening, as before we go home, to say goodbye on behalf of the board to someone that we have grown to admire over the years, Mr. Bob Berry. Mr. Berry, this is your last night with us. You're going off into retirement. I heard you tell somebody today, you can call me on a social occasion, but don't call me on a law question. And Bob has been practicing law for 45 years, and that sounds like a good time to retire. I only made it to 40, and then they brought me back in, but I don't think they're going to do that on that situation. 24 years, Bob has been the school board attorney for Chesapeake, and I think that deserves a hand right there. Would you join me? Now, the reason I can speak to this is that I was here when you came, Bob. I remember that when you came, one of the stipulations was at first that you were just a temp and that we were going to have somebody else. But I will tell you that Bob got involved in school law, and it became a love for him. Right, Bob? And that you enjoyed finding out the nuances of it, and you researched, and you went to continuing ed events. You became one of the experts in the area on school law, and we were fortunate to have you all these years, and we thank you as a board for your service. You have served the same as me under 3 sitting superintendents. Of course, most of the time they were up on their feet, but Dr. Randolph Nichols, Dr. Jim Roberts, and Dr. Jared Cotton. And that's a remarkable achievement because in each of those there have been differences, and you have risen to the occasion on those differences. Bob is a man of faith. He's a man of principle. He's a man of integrity. And Bob, we wish you Godspeed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mercer, for those very, very kind words. I won't delay the meeting very long, other than to say that I was reticent when I was asked to be the lead counsel for the school board back in 1999. Didn't know that if I would want to give up 2 Monday nights a month for this purpose, but very quickly came to find out that it was an absolute honor and blessing for me to be able to serve the city of Chesapeake and its families. And to say I've grown into it would be an understatement. I've come to love it. And although all good things must come to an end, this has been a good and a long thing for me. I have many, many fond memories of, as you said, 3 superintendents and untold numbers of dedicated public servants who have held positions at the school division, from first-year teachers to senior citizens to members of the superintendent's cabinet. Jackie Miller has been here since the day I got here. Paige Stutz has been here since the day I got here. Diane Edwards has been here. And if I'm omitting anyone else, I apologize for that. I'm sure I am omitting some. And then, of course, yourself, Mr. Mercer. It has been my honor to serve with you on all these Monday nights. And so I thank you. I thank you all, especially for these very, very kind words. And so I I bid you farewell and Godspeed as you continue the work of this school division. Thank you for the opportunity to serve.
Mr. Berry, I certainly add my deep appreciation for your many, many years of service that predate me, and I'm sure I speak on behalf of the rest of the board, especially the new members, that you've helped guide us through some pretty challenging times, good and bad, and we just appreciate you and wish you the very best in your retirement. And that seems like a wonderful way to end our meeting, and I declare this meeting adjourned.